I am so tired of going to these great restaurants and getting offered these wimpy little tea bags when there's all these great teas available. And the full leaf teas are less expensive and far more exciting than what you get in a tea bag. Okay, we're back from a couple of supermarkets. Let's see what we got in the way of teas. These are all teas that one would typically find in any supermarket across the country. And what most people don't realize is that full leaf teas often are much less priced than common tea bags that you get in the supermarkets. So, for example, this tea here is $51.45 a pound. This one is $79.28 a pound. This one is $55.81. And when you buy these little containers here, you really get hit with it. This one here is $184 a pound. Let's take a look inside and see what you get for $72. Well, mainly a half-empty box. Same typical little tea bag. And let's see what we get for $184 a pound. Oh, same little tea bags. So I guess we're paying mostly for the container, which is really a sweet little container. This is what you get with tea bags. And one of the biggest problems when using tea bags is keeping the teas fresh. Once the teas are ground, once they're in small pieces, it's surrounded by oxygen, and they tend to change very quickly. Well, this is all pretty much dust and fannings. This would be the highest grade as far as the cut goes. But these are the type teas that typically nobody drinks in Asia. These were commonly just tossed out. They were considered the dregs of tea production. Take a tea bag and tear it open and look at it. And put it in a covered cup and put some water in it and look at it. And then compare it with a full leaf tea and see what you're getting. And then taste. I mean, it's not that Lipton's is a bad taste. I don't think it's a bad taste. It's just, you know, it's very predictable and somewhat boring. There's no real strong personality about it. But for me, it's not tea any more than wine coolers is wine. You know, I mean, we should give the same respect to tea, and I think that's happening now. Just wanted to answer any questions that you might have to help you and your customers enjoy the tea experience. Best way to get to learn about tea is to develop a relationship with that tea. These are the display teas, and these are foolproof to make. You simply put them in a wine glass and add your water to it. So there's no guesswork with these types of teas, and they're wonderful to enjoy over a leisure meal. They're made from a varietal of tea plant that doesn't get bitter from over-steeping. We'll give it a couple more minutes and you'll see when it fully opens, it's a very beautiful thing to look at. So this is a Jinshan Tianhua. Almost every tea you see on the market are made from just two varietals, other than the Chinese teas. Now in China, the varietal is so important that there are literally hundreds of different varietals, and some are very different. Now I'll pass this around, just notice the aroma on this. I should point out, nothing has been added to these teas. That fragrance you get is from the tea itself. Typically, the first steeping that you get will be best for the aroma. The second and third steeping will be best for the flavor. The aroma is so special. If you use a wine glass and treat it like a fine wine, you'll see it, the bouquet in this will just really open up nicely. For storing tea, the four things that destroy tea, the first thing is moisture. You want to keep your tea dry, really dry. The second thing that destroys tea is air. It oxidizes, so you want to keep it in an airtight container. The third thing that destroys tea is light. So keep it in a dark container. Don't let the light hit it. And the fourth thing is heat. Heat doesn't really destroy it, it just speeds up the process of deterioration. So keep the tea cool, dark, dry, and in a small container. Okay. So here's the pu'er, and I think this is the light one, isn't it? I'm not sure which is which. No, that's the dark one.
It's really dark.
Yeah, that's a dark one. With this tea, you could re-steep it many times. It'll just keep going and going. Now, the reason they use small teapots in China is several reasons. The main one is you could really control the taste of the tea exactly where you like it. When you start with a big, large English-style teapot, the tea gets lost in there. But when you have a quality tea, you can re-steep it many times. So if you figure, if you start with a large teapot and you put the right amount of leaf in there, you're going to end up with gallons of tea. But if you use a small pot, you could re-steep it many times, and the thing you wanted to remember is when the tea is right, you pour it out completely. And then you could leave the leaf in there all day long if you want. When you want your second pot or third pot, you just shoot your water in there and pour. It's ready to go. So easy. And this is my personal pu'er pot. I've been using this pot for about 12 years, and you'll see it's just black inside, just coated black. But I only make pu'er in there. And we could probably shoot just hot water in there and pour it out and still get a cup of tea, you know. But that's how it is with these old teapots. The older they are, the more they get seasoned, the more they're appreciated and valued. This is what they use all the time in China. I love tea. You know, I've had good tea, and I lived in Asia. I lived in Asia 30 years ago, and tea is a way of life there, and people don't think about it. We're basically a nation of coffee drinkers. But in most of the world, people drink tea. China is a country on the move. Every time I return, I'm amazed at all the changes that take place. People everywhere, progress everywhere, and tea is everywhere. When one travels in the city, you see great changes taking place everywhere. Growth and economic development and new construction everywhere. Part of the great change in China is with the establishment of the free market economy. And now you could find great new tea markets where only tea is sold. Much like you would have a farmer's market for vegetables, you have markets that are established only for the purchase of tea. Everywhere you go in China, you'll find that tea is a part of everyone's life. Tea is a wonderful way to welcome guests and to receive visitors. Wherever I went in China, I was always received first with a cup of tea. The tea farmers are always so proud of their new harvest, and they love sharing their tea with guests. The first tea Kuan Yin of the season. Here we go.
That's a tea Kuan Yin.
Tea picking is not as easy as it looks. A lot of the finer teas take great skill to pick. In fact, a single pound of tea might require 80,000 pickings. When it's tea season and time to pick tea, the entire family, the whole village turns out to help in the production of tea. It's a very communal activity that everyone participates in. In the final making of tea, they pull out all the inferior pieces of leaf and stem. This is one of the most laborious and tedious tasks of tea, but the whole family participates. It's a chore that involves everyone, and they laugh and play and have a good spirit about it. Tea is taken very seriously in China. Every year they have competitions where teas are rated and judged. In addition to taste, the judges are also looking for the fine aroma as well as a nice appearance of the leaf. One of the things that always strikes me about tea in China is the ceremony and the pomp and celebration that's associated with it. Great holidays are declared, and the school kids come out and dress up in their finest and practice dances, and everyone is celebrating tea. Once a year, China will bring forth its greatest tea tasters and judge the finest teas of that year's harvest. And from those tastings, they'll choose the farmer who has grown the best tea in the country. Everyone is waiting to see who will be chosen for this year's Tea King. Finally, the selection of China's new Tea King for the year. But despite all the official honoring of the individual high-quality tea farmers, the reality is that most of the tea is produced in big factories. Even if a farmer were able to sell them a high-quality tea, by the time it got blended in with everything else, the quality would be lost. But in the rural areas, you could find mountain tea farmers still carrying on an old tradition where the entire family participates in the processing of tea. I was really excited when the new Tea King invited us to come and visit him in his remote mountain village, right in the heart of the tea country in Anxi district. It was a unique opportunity. We got to witness the entire tea processing from start to finish. The Tea King, who refers to himself as the elder brother, works with his entire family. Everyone participates. It's very important, the time of day of picking and the weather. One rainstorm could ruin that day's harvest. Elder brother is producing an oolong tea, and the next step after picking is withering the leaf so a portion of the moisture evaporates off, allowing the leaf to be more supple for the following stages in production.
Back.
This is a continuation of the withering process. The teas are put on the flat trays and allowed to additionally dry out, and once they lose enough moisture, they can go into the tumbler. The tumbling will allow the leaf to break its cell structure, releasing the juice and the enzymes throughout the leaf. The process goes on throughout the night. The tea farmer sleeps very little. The teas are alternately put back from the tumbler to the shelf and back again until just the right aroma comes off from the leaf. Finally, it's the next morning. His father, who was also chosen Tea King years previously, drops in to check on the progress. They're waiting for just the right moment. Finally, the moment has arrived, and the teas are taken from the tumbler and carried next door, where the teas will get fired. They heat the oven with wood, and at just the right temperature, they'll toss the leaves in. It takes just 30 seconds to arrest the enzyme activity. They call this sashing, or killing the green. The next step is a rolling process, which causes the juice to flow throughout the leaf.
Now begins the most laborious part of oolong production. Elder brother takes the leaf and bundles it up in pieces of cloth. Using both hands and feet, tightly expels all the air from the bundle and then allows the bundle to rest. After a short time, the leaf is again opened and allowed to breathe, and then the entire process is repeated up to 10 times. Finally, after 24 hours, the teas are ready to get fired over the charcoal fire. Placed in the bamboo baskets and slowly cured over the fire, this step produces the ultimate taste and aroma of the tea. Meanwhile, the rest of the family is getting ready to prepare the next batch of leaf. The teas are taken up on the roof, and the withering process is started all over again. Though tea has been grown in China for 4,000 years, it wasn't until the mid-19th century when an Englishman by the name of Robert Fortune went into China in disguise and smuggled out tea plants and tea seeds. I became fascinated with this character and sought out the trails and routes that he took. I think for me, somehow, following the Robert Fortune trail really inspired me to continue my search in finding my own teas in China. Tea is found everywhere in China, but the real challenge is to find the exceptional teas. One of the most remarkable teas in the world are those grown on Phoenix Mountain from the old trees that were planted back in the Sung Dynasty. The most remarkable thing about these teas, besides the taste, is that these have been picked continuously for 700 years. The roots go down 30 feet, tapping into the subsoils, giving the tea a taste that you can't get with any other tea in the world. Sometimes I deal with export companies who are willing to be a little more adventurous in seeking out fine teas. Mr. Song from the Zhejiang Tea Export Company was willing to accompany us to some of the remote tea farms.
Pesticide residue, chemical analysis.
This is not something he would normally do, nor would any other export company. Typically, they like to sell their own teas that they get from the large commercial farms.
Favorite
plants for tea.
Sure.
Yeah, it's a good plant. Good species.
So I think you have been there for several times.
Yes. Yes. Well, this was the original reason they started using chemicals in China.
Oh, where's the tea? Ah.
也是那顾客啦，也是顾客。真的有没有？
好香呢。
Oh, this is nice. See, this has nice aroma. I like this one.
然后这个香气还可以的。
Yeah, even if they have small quantity like this, it's okay as long as they don't mix together. We keep it separate. So we could grade it back in California. See, all these farmers have different teas. This is the advantage of buying directly from the farmer, is you can get the teas before they're mixed. This is some of the best tea I've seen here. Look. See? Nice aroma, very young, very good quality. No, chemical.
哎，装不了药，这买我不那个。对，
Exquisite,
这个产这不
exquisite.
同，它产有亚头。我跟你讲了，现在这个地区的不是商区的这个，商区的不会做这个产业的，都是
Good
平原做出
quality,
来的。
everything. Appearance,
哎，对，都
taste,
是平原的，
aroma.
哎，都是平原的，所以好做的，我跟你讲。
Yeah. Like Mr. $1, he just
Sometimes people come up with little bags of tea. How much cash do we have with us?
Cash. It's not just maybe $300 enough
For them.
for talking money.
Yeah, but what about, that's for buying big bags. Suppose someone has smaller bags of tea. 这个福建路好？福建路好？
你好。
Sold. Professor Liang runs the Tea Research Institute at the Zhejiang University. I've been working with Professor Liang on a joint earthworm project. Professor Liang is very much interested in organic agriculture and is acutely aware of all the problems associated with chemicals in the use of commercial fertilizers and pesticides. Professor Liang is involved in several tea projects which are experimenting with organic tea farming. These farms are run by local managers.
What
price does he receive for
哦，
the
你
fresh tea?
卖的鲜叶多少钱一斤？
那鲜叶我们是这样吃啊，这价格我们去年是这样吃的，我们采摘工资是2毛钱一斤。
And the other thing, of course, is organic tea. We want to convert strictly to organic production.
yeah.
I think it's possible we can.
但是如果是这样子，那么下次以后有些问题那个我们可以商量，也就是说，保证质量的前提下。
You do your cuttings in the ground.
Yeah. Yes, we did.
Ah.
It's very special. Purple butter. What is it? That's purple butter. No, all the butter is. It died.
Professor Liang is part of the new movement in awareness of the need for change in organic tea farming. There are vast areas of commercial tea farms in China that use chemical fertilizers and pesticides, herbicides, fungicides. Sometimes they represent their teas as organic, but really you got to go there to check it out for yourself.
Or the tea tree.
What does it do?
I can't say. Sorry.
You can get it in India, you can get it in Ceylon. Other tea-producing countries are promoting organic tea, but not China.
So he is saying there are no chemical fertilizers used on the tea plants?
Yes, he says so.
Could you ask him again? This is very important to call tea organic. You cannot be using chemical fertilizers.
他上面肯定没有用那个化学啊。
He's got the chemicals right there in his bag. He's just fixed his sprayer.
You simply can't grow good tea without good soil, and every farmer knows this. When you have good soil, you can get better tasting tea, and the holding quality, the keeping quality of tea is far superior.
On behalf of Silk Road Teas, I want to thank the government of China, the local government, and all my friends here in Ansi for inviting us to attend the conference. Because there is so much interest in the health benefits of tea now, we are promoting the use of organic tea farming for the 21st century. I hope that we can use fewer pesticides, herbicides, and apply more organic fertilizer to tea production. And this is also grown in Ansi. All these are grown in Ansi now.
Yeah.
Without chemical fertilizer?
No chemical fertilizer, no pesticide for bugs, insects.
What?
Poison for the small bugs that eat the insect.
You say, okay.
You can't
Without
use any
chemical
spray.
fertilizer and
The method of farming organic tea must be sustainable. This means that every year the soil will get better and better.
比较新，再搞茶厂，将来要在那边再搞一个加工茶叶的，买收购茶叶的。你如果想跟我合作，
See, what we need to do, we could also bring fertilizer here
Yeah,
from
yeah,
America.
that's right.
But the best thing is that we create a place that makes its own
Yeah,
fertilizer.
yeah, make the fertilizer here.
Yeah,
Make.
so we have
其
to-
實頭前先喺美國帶來嘅肥哦，要肥啊哦，先試。到落去下晡，咱才就講伊串一個廠來做製造迄個肥，啊，所賣全人貴 ，selling even here in Ansi。
千年古树多，很大很大。我们等一下去看参观。
Doing business in China is not easy. Not only do you have the language and cultural differences, it's extremely difficult finding really quality tea. And once you find it, getting it out of the country is another matter. Most tea businessmen are more interested in profit than in supplying quality tea. In addition to the normal contracts and negotiations with the tea businessmen, you also have to deal with local governments and provincial governments and Chinese politics.
I'm only interested in the really high-grade teas. And most tea buyers aren't tea drinkers, they're businessmen. And there's a difference because they can't taste when a tea is really good or not. They don't even care, you know, they want to know the price and, oh, it looks good, must be good tea. But it's very difficult to find high quality tea now. I'll taste hundreds of different teas and maybe find 4 or 5 that stand out. Occasionally you'll come across a tea when you smell it, you go, ah, you know, it's just so good, so fresh, so full. They don't care about the taste and aroma here. They go by appearance when they buy tea. I've tried to sell their high-priced teas in America. It's too high a price for the taste. This was the cheapest tea in the market. And I drank this one last night and it was wonderful. You know, I have no problem with this tea. No chemical taste, no pesticide. I could taste no chemical fertilizers on this. It has very nice aroma. And Americans don't care about the appearance. It's whole leaf, it's not bad. Look, it's fresh, good color. You can't find this tea in the market because no one's packaging this tea. When you go to the market and you buy a nice package, they all package them with nice looking teas, not good taste. Do you want to come and work for us? You want to quit your job and come work for Silk Road Teas?
That's possible.
金冠羊皮
是
是一样的，
是。
不过
这个菜也在呢。
Every tea, 4 kilo, 4 kilo, 4
Yeah.
kilo, 4 kilo. I post the tea from the post
Yes.
office. You pay me.
Yes. Are you honest, man? Sometimes I give money,
Okay.
they don't send tea.
对
If I give you money, you will send tea?
对 You give the money, I send the tea.
Okay.
I'm a kind man.
Okay, I think so. I will trust you. I have to
I'm a
trust you.
teacher. My father teacher.
So this will be our contract. Huh? You know contract? You send 5 kilo, 5 kilo.
Fine.
And then I will send you. We each trust each other, okay?
Okay.
So, yeah. So you send 5 kilo, 5 kilo.
5 kilo, 5 kilo, 5
Yes.
kilo, 5 kilo, 5 kilo.
So, thank you. Bye bye. Bye bye.
In the early days, for lack of any other means of getting teas out of China, I would ship occasional boxes out through the post office. But once the quantity of teas I was exporting increased, I had to develop new systems in exporting teas from China. Vacuum packing is the best way to preserve the freshness of tea. Dealing with politics and bureaucracy and taxes is all part of doing business in China. While the bulk of my teas are shipped back in containers, some very special grades will be hand-carried back by myself, much to the interest and curiosity of U.S. Customs. Finally, all the hard work in China is paid off, and the tea arrives back in California. Well, most of it.
Okay. We got more tea coming Monday.
Monday?
Yeah.
It's a great time to experiment, to be creative with the tea leaf. Because nothing is more basic than the tea leaf. There are no rules. You can do anything you want to that leaf. Who's right, who's wrong? It's a matter of taste. Play with it. Experiment. On your own. Find a tea you like and put more leaf in, put less leaf, put hotter water, colder water, anything you want to do.
I really encourage you just to experiment. Try all these different teas you can have. And not just mine, I mean, just try tea. For me, the important thing is enjoying that cup of tea. It's just a leaf steeped in water. This is white.
God, I love it.
What do you got there? What do you got?
Oh,
Well, I'm gonna
try that.